Hey guys, it's Mr. Stringham. Purposes videos to kind of show you how to use this build a fictional hero cheat sheet that I created. I know some people have already kind of figured it out, but if you haven't or just want to see an example, I'm going to show you kind of an example of that right now. So the idea of this worksheet is to help you create a backstory for your character. When I do writing in my own time, I feel like it's much easier to write a story if I have an idea of who my main character is and maybe create some like fake backstory plot elements just so I can kind of write the character as they would react in the story. A lot of times people struggle with writing because they don't know how to create a backstory, or they just try to start writing the story, but they haven't really thought about who their main character is and kind of what drives them. And so that's kind of the idea behind this worksheet. The way that I would use this personally, I would go through with a highlighter and I would highlight things that kind of apply. And I'm going to sort of show you that as we're going through it. There's kind of a few things to keep in mind when you're thinking about characters. Personality traits. These are things, kind of why your character does the things that they do. How do they think? This could be like strong religious belief, or maybe they're super educated, or they come from a really well off family, or maybe they grew up poor and so they have that chip on their shoulder to kind of grind and hustle and push themselves. Those are all types of personality traits. There's physical traits, which is exactly what they sound like. It's just talking about what your character physically looks like. And then character skills. This is where you get to kind of fine tune and develop your character a little bit more. And the idea behind this is certain characters are going to be better at different types of skills. And if you know what your character is good at and what skills they have, then it's going to be a lot easier to write a story that makes sense. Because if you know your character, I use the Robin Hood kind of example, who's like super stealthy and acrobatic and can kind of sneak into places and sneak out. That's going to help you write what your story is going to be like, right? Because you're going to know and have an idea of who your character is. So we'll just kind of go through this together and start off and kind of break it down. And you could do this for any character. Think about your favorite TV show or something like that. One of my favorite TV shows is Indiana Jones. So I think about kind of Indiana Jones, like you could break any character, fictional character, or even real character down into these kind of basic categories. So for personality traits, you need a name. This could be something simple, complicated, or complex. And I kind of give you some examples there of like giving your character a title, or maybe they don't go by their real name because there's this huge reason and backstory of them trying to hide behind that. Ideals. All people have ideals. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're good ideals, but everyone has driving forces or thoughts or big ideas that kind of force them in a way to make the decisions that they do. And we call those things ideals. So think about what drives your character. Ideals could be different if your character is maybe a really good ethical person type of character, or maybe if they're a little more flawed, their ideals can kind of show that. Bonds, on the other hand, help give your character a connection to their home world. That could be like an item, like a ring that has like his family crest on it, type of thing. It could be something more abstract than that. It could be a title, but something that kind of tells you a little bit about the character, and you can expand on what that bond or that item is throughout the story. It just gives you another thing you can write about. So that's kind of the idea of this, is just setting you up so that you can kind of fill in the blanks once you have this idea. The last part for personality traits is flaws. Everyone has flaws. No one's perfect. That's what makes stories interesting. Give your characters some real flaws, things that maybe conflict and will make them have to choose between their ideals are always really good ideas. Flaws can be fears. They can be a negative kind of way of looking at something. And as I'm recording this, it looks like I'm going to have to do this in multiple parts, which is kind of annoying. And that's just because I only have the trial software that we were provided for this. So I'm going to pick up with physical traits on the next recording.